We are live. Welcome to my live stream. Today I'm going to talk about, well, life without a Tesla. At least for now, I've returned my Tesla to a Tesla leasing company. This was my third one. I've owned those for over 6 years. And so, it's a little different. There are some pros and there are some cons as there is to anything. I've been driving my commuter car that I originally bought to commute, which was a Chevy Volt. I didn't buy it. I lease it as I lease all of my cars. So I'll share some of that with you. And then, of course, we're going to just hang out and I'll answer some of your questions, comment on a few things that are happening in the universe of electric cars. Let's start right now. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, Welcome to E4Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there and also the bell notification icon. That way you will stay up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars. All right, so this was my a car, my last one, my third one. By the way, can I just give compliments to this guy on his excellent taste in men's fashion and men's shirts at the very least. All right, so I've definitely enjoyed it. It's different. It was different for the last few years. In the beginning, it was more of a rebel move and more of a sort of a kind of a let's change the world type of the move. Everybody in the beginning, my friends and family thought I was absolutely crazy buying a car in 2012 from a new manufacturer, first of all, right? And second, an electric car. And by the way, I was renting a tiny little room in this old lady's house because, me and my ex at that time broke up and I wasn't really sure where I wanted to move. And I talked her, she was like 80 years old, into installing a charging station on her driveway where I parked. And she agreed. And so it was a stretch by many different ways. And at that time, we all kind of wanted to change the world. So, my third one was more like, okay, all right, it's a cool thing to do, especially when I was living in the Bay Area. Everybody wanted a Tesla, maybe not to change the world, but just to keep up with the Jones, whatever it's called, or Kardashians really at this point. But the technology was kept me kind of going. But as you know, I've had a lot of disappointments, and the customer service has been really just like eating at my soul. And even when I returned my car, I have to say there was like one last time the customer service kicked me in the balls again, really. And even so, I returned it to the Tesla Rockland here in the Sacramento area. And they once again didn't really come out to greet me. I was just ended up sitting there in a driveway figuring out what do I do? Do I come in or come out? Wanted to talk to their GM because their service manager was like, dude, whatever. I don't want to hear your whining and complaints. And I want to talk to GM to see if this is normal, and then because people did, I shouldn't put too many, but generally speaking, Tesla employees have told me, especially in the sales side, that their service does hurt them, trying to sell these cars when, right next door, they're kind of pushing people away. Have not received a call from their GM. So that's another thing is like, if you have a happy customer who has a comment, a suggestion how you can improve the service, you might want to give a guy a call, right? So no, not really. But anyway, so that's kind of as expected. And I'm still considering maybe getting maybe a used Tesla, just maybe for another year, because I'm just not behind 100% of one car, right? I reserved the e-tron and I almost got it, but I still might, but it just wasn't the right timing. Also, I'm a small business owner now. I do this full time and I wanted to be responsible. I was like, oh, I don't know if I should spend $80,000 on a car again. My Volt here, I'm behind on putting miles on it. It's got like no miles on it ever since I got it in July. So, back and forth, and that's just basically how my journey went. But let's talk about pros and cons because they're both. And again, I'm kind of comparing my experience of driving Tesla to driving a Volt. So that is pretty polarizing, as you would imagine. And by the way, I see somebody asking about Byton, which I will answer once I am done with my rant here. But that also reminded me that this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out the all-electric SUV called Ambite. I drove it myself, rode in it myself, so it was pretty cool. $45,000, $0 to reserve one. I don't know why anybody would not have reserved one. So if you haven't, there's a link in the description of this video. It also takes like a minute to do so. So if you haven't, go ahead. It's going to be an amazing car, I think, and I can't wait to drive it myself. But what I'm driving right now is this little thing. Again, I bought it as a commuter car because I just got really, really tired of supercharging. A lot of times if I go to LA, and I'll give you another example right now about just going to the Bay Area the other day, it really makes a trip almost not worth it if it's, let's say, 7 hours versus 5 hours. So I'm okay, to miss the traffic in LA, you kind of want to come in at night, like even past midnight. But to me, if I come in and I get to my bed at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, I'm still okay to wake up and a lot of times just basically do work the next day because I visit LA for business, which I'm going to be doing next week as well. But then if I get to bed at 4 o'clock because I have to supercharge for a total of a couple of hours, that's a deal breaker. I can't do it. I was just in Bay Area. Same thing, I was in the Bay Area because of just the way my hockey games. I play hockey, just ended up being back to back, and I only had so many hours to visit the Bay Area, and I ended up getting there about midnight. Now that's driving Chevy Volt. That is using a little bit of gas, which I'm not really very proud of, but essentially for me, and you feel free to put yourselves in your shoes. For me, it was a difference between seeing a friend who was able to kind of stay up a little bit later as his family went to bed and meet me at IHOP and hang out, and arriving later than that by maybe about 45 minutes or so, whatever it would have taken me to supercharge, and not seeing my friend. And the whole purpose of me visiting the Bay Area is to see as many friends as possible in a small window. And this is where I'm going to go with seeing a friend over anything else, using gas, not driving in Tesla. So I have, this is a personal choice. So that is definitely is not something I'm going to miss. Not that I was really missing it too much because I already had my Volt for the last year or so, right? Since July. But what are the things that I'm missing about the Tesla? It's obviously, I'm not gonna lie, it definitely turned a lot of heads, especially in the beginning in 2012, 2013. It did turn heads here in Sacramento because it's this is not a very well-off community like the Bay Area, and there are not that many of them here, and I like that. And not for any type of ego thing. I'm in my 40s, so I'm over that. But it's because I always love turning heads to showcase the technology. Like, look, this car is electric, but it looks amazing. Look how quiet it is. Look how fast it can take off and without all this noise that's coming out from under the hood, or as we call it, the frunk, right? So I really like that, and I miss being sort of an ambassador almost, because no one's looking at a Chevy Volt. As much as I like my Chevy Volt, I do like the way it looks. There are quite a few interesting things it has that Tesla doesn't, and I'll talk about it in a second. But it's not a head turner. As a matter of fact, people don't even know that it's electric car really. So that's a lie, says one of the members. I don't even know how to pronounce your username. It's all ego, and I have the same problem. No, I genuinely, it's not the ego. By the way, I have nobody to show off of in front of here, to be honest with you. I don't have friends and family or whatever. And even, now that I'm single, I really don't care if a girl knows what my car is. As a matter of fact, I park my car relatively far away when I go on dates, so they don't know what I drive, because I would not want a girl to like me because of the car I drive, as a matter of fact. So I prefer them not. Well, now that I have a Volt, I'm like, yeah, I have a Volt. Do you still want to date me? If so, then yes, we are a match. Is this the second time I'm mentioning dating today? Yes, I am. So, It definitely not an ego thing. When I was in my 20s, I'll admit, I had a 7 Series BMW or earlier in my life, and it was all about the fronting and all of that stuff. And obviously, I regret that. But I think it's just kind of a learning experience. I grew up very poor, so being able to afford a 7 Series in my early 20s with my own money, that probably played a big role. I'm Russian, so we do like flashy cars, I have to admit. But the things that I missed about Tesla is, the just being able to have a possession of this amazing technology and showcase it to other people. Weirdly enough, I did not miss as many features as I would. Now, let me tell you, my Volt does have some features that Tesla doesn't have. Like I can add to a regen braking with a little pedal behind my steering wheel, which is I love it. I use it like every time. As a matter of fact, I remember after driving a Volt and I would drive my Model S again, I kept pressing where that button was in a Volt and I didn't have it. The acceleration, I have to say, if I want to beat cars off the light, I can still do it in a Volt as long as I put it in a sports mode. The torque is still pretty good. Don't forget I had a 60. I had the regular 60, and before that I had a 75D, and before that I had the 85. So it was none of that was like super big performance Teslas, right? So so that is definitely for my taste. I know some people really really like the torque, and obviously Volt is not for them. Another thing is the blind spot, little lights, because I think all cars now have it except for Teslas. The little lights on your side mirrors that will tell you that someone is in your blind spot. That way it's very obvious, and the other person also sees the light and says, oh, I'm in someone's blind spot, so I need to kind of watch out. I really like that feature. I wish Tesla had it. They do not. They can really fix the problem with even a chime, which does get annoying, but at least give it an option to people. Unfortunately, they do not. So that's another thing that I kind of like. And the fact that I can actually integrate my phone into this system in the car. One problem I had with a Tesla, what I mean, but I had with a Tesla is that their estimated time of arrival was like way off, and I think they weren't really taking in consideration the traffic. And like Google is just like freaking perfect every time. No matter what I do, I could be driving 3 hours away, and it will tell me you'll be there at 5:24. I'm like, haha, I can be there in 5. No, I'm there at 5:24. Like it's amazing. So the fact that you can incorporate that into your car, and you can do it with the same with an iPhone, doesn't have to be Android, is great. I really really like that. Self parking, right? So I wasn't a big fan of autopilot, but there are a couple of things I do miss. The self parking is okay. I'm pretty good with parallel parking, but if you're not, definitely that's a feature they probably would miss. But when I'm driving and I need to quickly send a message or whatever, and of course I try to be as safe as possible, but especially in the freeway, you can put your Tesla in autopilot, and then it's much safer way to deal with it. In any other car, including Chevy, I'm end up either having to go to the slower lane where I can cruise a little bit safer, and if I have to send a message, or really just wait until I get wherever I'm driving and then kind of delay my answers, which sometimes it's business, and you kind of have to reply pretty quickly. So that I definitely do miss, but I know people who have, like Eli of My Tesla Adventure, who's going to be on this channel tomorrow. We're going to have an interesting argument, by the way. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, Eli from My Tesla Adventure comes on every Wednesday. We argue, we talk. This time we're going to talk and debate about why Tesla owners, or what, I don't remember how we phrased the topic, but like, why doesn't an average Tesla owner embrace other electric cars? A lot of times I see enough different publications that even their electric car, Tesla publications, they still kind of try to poop all over other electric cars, sometimes rightfully so, like I did today in my Patreon live feed about Honda E, which I think is just going to be embarrassing all of us once it comes out. But sometimes Tesla owners just do not want to hear or even know what's going on outside of the Tesla bubble. So we're going to have a conversation about that. Don't forget to tune in. That's going to be tomorrow. So back to my kind of pros and cons about the missing Tesla. Overall, by the way, my charging bill is much less, obviously, and my insurance bill is much less. Obviously, car payments, but that's that's different. So there are, for somebody like me who right now is no longer making a Silicon Valley salary where, Tesla, not that, I had two Teslas at some point, no big deal. Someone who has to live on a budget but still wants to drive an electric car. I am definitely not missing Tesla as much in terms of finances. And in terms of just driving in a Chevy Volt, I am surprised how comfortable I am. I am surprised how not annoyed I am. Like I know some people who had to downgrade went from Tesla to another car. They had a really tough time with all of these features that all of a sudden are missing. I'm surprisingly not that way, which I'm kind of proud of. But nevertheless, there are quite a few things. I mean, I miss the big screen, obviously. I do like more space, but that's just because Volt is a little tiny, a tiny car. Putting stuff on the front, so that's another thing. Maybe I should mention that. When I have a laptop with me, I used to put it in the front, and I felt very secure about it. Because one, people don't know there's a front, and people who do, it's not that easy to open. And definitely, you can break a window and get into it. But in a regular car like a Volt, anywhere I put my laptop, you essentially, you can break into the car. It's a hatchback. I needed it. Obviously, I can't not own a hatchback. That's why Model 3 was a tough choice for me to make. Because I'm a hockey goalie and I have a lot of equipment that kind of needs to be loaded up in the car. So a hatchback is a very, very important. So let's see. Okay, now I I don't think my experience would be 100% common with everybody else who might be going away from Tesla and maybe enjoying another car. But I do have a few Facebook groups, and one of them is for the Audi e-tron owners, and another one's for Kia Niro EV owners. And I'm seeing that fill up now. Like people are joining and they're talking about their experiences. Some of them come from being a Tesla owner, so I'm probably going to get some sense of are there any regrets? Are there any advantages of moving from Tesla to an Audi or Kia or other brands? And there will be Mercedes and Porsche very soon. So I'm kind of interested in knowing what other people think. By the way, if you're in the chat room right now and you have gone from Tesla to a different brand, whether it's gas car or regular car or another electric car, definitely let me know. I mean, I'm curious to know about your experiences with that. So yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm surprisingly fine. Obviously, I would like to get back into a premium sedan or a car, and maybe just like I said, I've been thinking about buying a used Model S. Obviously, I've always preached if you're buying a used Model S, you gotta have a warranty. So it kind of has to come from Tesla, and their used inventory has been pretty up there. Like I've seen some amazing deals, and I made a video about it where you could buy a used Model S still with an extended warranty and all of that stuff for like $28,000 to $35,000. I have not seen a car there for that, even when they show me the inventory for the entire country, not just the Bay Area. So that's definitely kind of I would have thought there would be more of them now that the Raven version of the Model S came in, but nope, the inventory is still there. Nigel Weir says Volt is not tiny. Model S and X are monster trucks anywhere but USA and Canada. Tiny compared to the Model S, right? Definitely the space inside is much smaller. And I don't even mean it in a bad way, to be honest with you. I like fitting into parking spots and my garage without, So, random person says, I have arrived. Welcome, random person. But I'm going to scroll all the way up and answer some questions. Okay, Wolfram D. A better title, A Life Without Supercharging. Could be, and I just mentioned the Life Without Supercharging is good, but I already had a Volt, so I didn't really have to supercharge anyway. But yes, I can definitely live without that. Triple digit temperatures in Fahrenheit from now till end of September. Great. And that's from Upstein Studio Photography from Phoenix. Yeah, it has been amazingly hot here in Sacramento, not in the last week. But generally, when I moved here last July, my goodness, and in the last couple of weeks before this, also, it's like, I don't know, in Fahrenheit, I think it's about 110. I'm a Celsius guy, so it's over 40. So those of you watching me from Europe, we're on the same page there. Let's see. Steve Koss says, Eli, it's time to fire the GM from the service department. Eli, Are you here in the chat? Yes, I know Eli that's where he services his Tesla. Um, he had good experiences, but everybody kind of knows him there, and he obviously is a fan. Um, I don't know if it's a good thing or not thing that people know who I am there. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Well, actually, some people did recognize me, but so maybe even more reason to provide better service. But ooh, see, I'm allergic to Tesla service. Just dries up my throat immediately. Maybe I should have the EpiPen for this every time I talk about it and spasm really. Um, I don't know. I would think if you're a GM of any business or you're in charge of any business and somebody comes in and says, hey, listen, I owned your product for pretty much throughout the product's history, and now I am leaving because of this. Wouldn't you like to know what this is, right? So this is kind of weird. This is the first time, and I'm contemplating, should I just show up there and saying, hey, really? But on the other hand, I'm thinking, like, why bother? Like, why spend my time on it? Unless I'm gonna put it on the channel, right? Then and so it will help other people to get better service. I really don't see any reason for me to do that. If I'm there randomly, and I might as well say it. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Should I confront their GM saying, hey guys, providing crappy service already and not caring about it, that's not cool. This is why I left. But maybe you can still get better for those people who are Tesla owners right now. Maybe get me back, right? So that's that. All right. So this is the question about a Byton. Would I be able to lease a Byton? So I don't know. So honestly, they're just about to finish their factory in Nanjing. They're producing prototypes, and some of them are about a dozen of them are here now in the United States, driving around in California. And there's a long way to go. They're going to start selling the cars in China by the end of this year. That's the plan, and it looks like they're still on time. And then it's going to take another year to come to the US. And don't forget, this would be the first Chinese company. Well, they're not Chinese company, but they're company where they make cars only in China to come to the United States. So I don't know what challenges they're going to face, including the being able to lease these cars. I wonder if they're going to take the same sort of approach as Tesla did, where obviously you get more money up front if you're having people purchase them. But I'm a lease person, so I'm a brand ambassador, so I have some an opinion that I can express directly to Byton, and I definitely will encourage them to do that. But honestly, it's just gonna have to make sense financially to them. So hopefully, but I don't know, and neither do they. I don't believe. Ten Tran, hello, how are you? I've seen you here before. I think we've had some conversations in the comment section of some of my videos. So welcome back to the live chat here. Steve Koss says, if Tesla releases their Maxwell battery solution, it may put Byton behind. So here's the thing. First of all, I think Tesla is ahead of everybody no matter what, even without that technology. But here's how I'm at with this. An electric car needs to have over 200-mile range to be, I think, a contender. This is why I'm really harsh on Honda E, for example, right? It's not a contender. It's a 100-mile EPA range car that's going to be produced in 2020. So any car over 200 miles is sufficient to drive on a daily basis. I don't know anybody who drives more than 200 miles a day. And those people who usually commute that much, they have a charging station at their office or whatever locations, or they don't take their luxury $100,000 car or $50,000 cars. But there are exceptions, obviously. So if the car has over 200-mile range, I think this is pretty much it in terms of having the battery technology. The other side that I think you're not mentioning, but I think is more important, is how fast can you charge that car? And I don't mean the top charging rate or how fast your battery goes from 0 to 80. All of that is nonsense. The question is how many miles you can add an extra 10 minutes of charging, for example, or per each minute of charging. I think in reality, that's what people really care about. So then it becomes like, okay, if I can add 100 miles in 30 minutes, okay, and there's obviously plenty of charging stations now for Tesla and even non-Tesla with Electrify America here in the US and Ionity in Europe. Definitely by the end of the year, the network is going to be good enough. I'll just hit my keyboard. Going to be good enough to basically able to take long trips almost anywhere. That's the bigger question about the car. So I don't care how many miles any car has, except for is it over 200 or less than 200. I think cars will go into 3, 4, 500-mile range at some point, and then manufacturers will realize that it's useless, and it'll come down to maybe 250 or 300 miles. I think that's what's really going to happen. So that's my opinion about it. What plan Biden has on how to get batteries? Asks Michael Gustafson. Actually, it's probably best plan you can have, because one of their investors, CATL, is the provider of batteries, and it's Chinese company. So essentially, when you're they provide batteries to BMW and many other manufacturers, but they're not investors there. They are investors in Biden, so this is the best way to have not only money invested, but what's called strategic partner, right? They're going to be supplying them with batteries, and I don't see CATL, raising prices for no reason, like I think Samsung did to Audi, or STI did to Audi. I don't see them being short on batteries, right? So their plan on batteries is actually really, really good. Nigel asks, did you see Bjorn's video of the rush hour traffic in Norway? I just don't watch his videos. I just don't. I know a lot of people watch him because they're a fan of his personality and stuff like that. I'm just not. I'm actually putting my run-in with him personally in one of the Tesla events aside, because what I think of him personally doesn't really matter. What I think of him professionally, but the just no. So if there's something I miss there, let me know. I don't see value for myself, especially somebody who wants to keep up with the sort of news of the industry. I don't really see that much value, but again, if I miss something, I'll be more than happy to watch that video. Sol Chris says Volt is the best choice for single car families, in my opinion. Also, the only one I could afford, so I'm biased. Well, I'm biased too. Because I think, and I got a lot of slack for this when I bought this car, and a lot of people left my channel saying, "How dare you leave all electric cars?" I think that plug-in hybrid with a decent electric range, which Volt has, but not too many other cars do. Maybe BMW i3, which I would consider plug-in hybrid rather than an electric car with a range extender. But I think that's a gateway drug to electric cars, but really a great way to introduce, regular people who are not, rich or trying to get the best technology, or tree huggers or whatever, like people who just want to drive their families, from home to school to whatever, right? I think it's a great way to introduce them to an electric technology where you can enjoy it in a car like a Volt. But if you run out of electricity, that still you have the gas engine, something that you're familiar with, something there's plenty of gas around on every single corner. So you enjoy the technology without all the fear or shortcomings that technology has. So it's a win-win. And then at some point, people will figure out, okay, well, I love my Volt, I like my plug-in hybrid. I just wish there will be more mileage, and I know these are the challenges which I have with that. And then they can make a decision saying, oh, if I switch to, let's say, Kia Niro or Tesla, I'll have this range, which I know is good enough for me, but I also know what the challenges are in terms of charging, when I travel long distance. But that's okay because I'm okay with that, or that's okay because I have a different car, it's a gas car to travel long distance. So I think the conversion of people will go much smoother if they're not just being kind of thrown off the boat, if you will, learning how to swim with all electric cars, but they're kind of being helped out by saying, all right, enjoy both at the same time, and then you can make the next step whenever you're ready. So I like that. And yes, absolutely, like, my payment on a Volt is $199 a month compared to my, Tesla payments were not $199 a month, essentially. So it's definitely a affordable way to experience the new technology. Upstein Studios Photography says, if you're playing hockey, you can drive anything. No, I if I play hockey, what is? I'm not really sure if one has to do with that. I want to drive on an electric range as much as I can. I want my house to get its electricity from the green sources, and so forth. So no, I am. This is kind of my life. Um, just tell me you have a Tesla. Oh, you're talking about if I'm coming over to the Tesla dealership. I don't need, as a matter of fact, the fact that I don't have a Tesla actually probably a bigger point, saying I don't have a Tesla and you guys are the ones to blame, the ones that are working for Tesla. So you really should probably consider treating other customers well so you don't lose them as well. Or maybe I will come back as a customer as well. Robert Jones with best comment of the day. He says, "Where do you get your shirts landed? I always look fantastically pressed. I'm so envious. They're super smart and sharp. Please divert your secret. You are not going to believe where I get these shirts. And they're like two-tone shirts with a color and cuffs that are actually like, as you can see. Oh, this one is not. Other ones have also this material here. I get them on Amazon. Like seriously, I get them on Amazon. Just it's a bit of a struggle sometimes to get the right size for the company. But then once you get the right size, like you can order 5 or 6, and they have like 30 different colors. I absolutely love it. Though I also have other shirts that I get from a company called J. Hilburn, and they make like the most affordable fitted shirt. So they basically come to your home, they like measure everything, and then they put it into your like 3D profile, and then as you order shirts, they're actually made custom for you. So when you put them on, it's like perfect. Usually those shirts are $500-600, but you can get them for like $99 if they're having a sale or discontinued materials and stuff like that. So some of my other shirts are from them, and I absolutely love them because my problem is I could never, like, I don't know why, but I have a fat neck. I just do, right? So I could never button up the shirts here if I need to wear a tie, which doesn't happen very often, but nevertheless. So that's why I looked into fitted shirts, and you can basically do whatever measurement here, and it was perfect. So I absolutely love it. But thank you for noticing. I love these shirts. I mean, my first attempt at the YouTube channel was for Men's Fashion. I have a YouTube channel out there that's still out there. I don't make videos for it anymore about men's fashion. So that was my kind of first YouTube love before I switched to doing electric cars, which I'm not complaining about at all. Let's see. I don't know how to pronounce your username, but he says she says I sold my Model S 85D in part for crappy service. I can't say bad words because YouTube downgrades the videos because of that. Yeah, I mean, it's so unfortunate. And I also have to admit, when I used to buy cars, I bought a couple of Mercedeses. Even though I'm not really a big fan of Mercedes per se, I feel like they have really outdated technology inside all the time. But one of the reasons I kept buying a Mercedes, or bought a few times, is because of their excellent service that I received over time. So I knew, like, okay, it's not the best car, but I know it's safe, and also if something goes wrong, I'm gonna be treated amazingly every time. So yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. What did you buy, by the way, instead? I'm kind of curious. Also, he asks, or she asks, what do you think about the Neo ES6? Wondering if it will ever make it to the US. I'm wondering the same thing because Neo has just laid off some of the people, including some of the American offices. A couple of executives left. They had a recall. Otherwise, I love Neo, right? Especially their battery swapping technology. I like that they're like pretty much one of the few other manufacturers, if not the only one actually, that are all brand new, all electric car manufacturers that has over now 17,000 cars that they've sold. So I'm definitely rooting for them. I've seen a prototype here in the Bay Area, there in the Bay Area when I visited, because they have Santa Clara headquarters, maybe like a mile away from Biden headquarters. I like it. I mean, the price is good. I like the way those cars are inside and out, but they're only selling them in China. Do I think they come here? There are indications that they want to come here because they're went public here in the United States. You can buy Neo stock. You just can't buy Neo's cars here. I don't see a solid plan right now for them to move to the US. So I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But I mean, I would love to. I would love for them to come over. They obviously need to get their finances straight and being able to make some profit there. But other than that, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Nigel says, actually, there are very few EVs that do 200-mile range. You mean besides Teslas? All Teslas pretty much do 200-mile range. But cars that are being sold now, like even if we start with Zoe in Europe, then we go on with Nissan Leaf and a Chevy Volt and Kia Niro EV and Hyundai Kona EV and Audi e-tron. And these are the ones that are on the market already right now. There will be a few more by the end of the year, including Porsche and Mercedes. And I think I'm missing one more. So no, I mean the cars nowadays, electric cars, at least have a version where you can buy a 200 plus mile range. What other cars are we talking about here? You know. All right, so let me move on. Oh, so somebody asked, the person who sold the Tesla because of bad service, if he had to pay for all of these repairs, but he said no, everything was under warranty. Same thing with me. I didn't really have to spend money. I just, I had to spend time and frustration and just feeling like crap and an unwanted customer all the time, and that's wearing down on you, Let's see. Tony Bulai says, I drove a Model S 75D for 1 week. Going back to regular cars was painful. I love the Tesla, cannot compare with anything on the road. Well, tell us why. I mean, why did you go back to regular cars? I'm assuming you mean gas cars. Why did you not try another electric car like Kia Niro, that's much cheaper and more of a regular car? I would be interested. Let's see. Darian says, I love electric cars. All right, you're in the right place for that. Nigel says, how many empty seats do people need and boots full of crap? You're probably talking about how many seats do people need inside of the car. Listen, people with families need seats. And many times I've talked to people who have a concern about that, and even if they don't have like families, they still want to have some room to put stuff in there, right? Like myself, yes, I play hockey once a week or maybe twice a week, but I need to bring my gear, so I don't even have a choice. I need the space. Let's see. Chevy Volt and Chevy Cruze are based on the same platform, same SaaS, says John Gordy. Yes, and this is why I would really wish they would put the Bolt technology in the Volt or the Cruze. That would make more sense to me. Upstein Studio Photography says Model 3 fold-down seats for hockey, bag, pads in trunk. Did you test it? No, that's the thing. The bag is pretty big. Everything's stacked up. So when you open the trunk, you can't squeeze it all in, through that opening. And neither can you through the doors. But, going through the doors is kind of dangerous because you end up kind of ramming sometimes stuff into your car, especially when I'm tired after the game or it's dark and I don't have as much energy after a game of hockey, and I end up not lifting the bag enough, and I end up ramming in little wheels into the paint. So I don't want to do it through the side doors. Heinz P says, meet up with Shmi 150 YouTube channel Monterey. I don't know what you're talking about. I hope you're not trolling. Tesla pickup base model, how much will it cost? Interior range, tell us more about it. I think the cost Elon mentioned, right? I think it was under 50,000 he mentioned. So that's that. What would be expected from a pickup event? Oh, I don't know. I'm hoping to go, but I don't know how many tricks up their sleeves they have and should really have, right? Like, for example, yeah, it was great to see the Roadster coming out of the semi-truck, and semi-truck was already pretty impressive, but like, look now, they have to delay the Roadster. Elon just downgraded the best stat of Tesla's history, right, from 1.9 to 2.1 seconds. At least it looks that way, because he's never retracted that or corrected anybody. So I hope they don't have any more surprises. I hope, and by the way, here's what I would expect. I hope they reverse this whole, what is it? He said the retro look of the truck and stuff like that. Because I don't like the fact that Elon's is saying that this truck is not for everybody who likes trucks. It's like, no, dude, please make a truck that appeals to people who like trucks. Make it better looking, but don't make it so futuristic people go like, well, I don't know about this. This already, like, they have to overcome the fear, people who drive trucks, right? I feel like it's a tougher sell to them because they're more of a macho and more American boys who like burning gas. It's a tougher sell already. Why would you also need to sell them on this modern design? Just make a good looking pickup truck, and there's plenty of work to do there and plenty of challenging selling it. So I really hope they reverse their thing, and whatever that image that they keep putting in front of us with that coffin looking like thing, I don't know if it was gonna work. Um, what's coming after the Tesla Roadster, Tesla bus combo, station wagon, city car plan? There's too many plans already, man. There's Model Y that needs to be put in production. There's a Tesla pickup truck that we just talked about that needs to be unveiled. There is a semi truck that needs to go in production, and a Roadster that needs to go in production, and a Model S and X refresh that needs to happen, and at some point Model 3 refresh that needs to happen. It's just too many things on right now. They just need to execute. And I'm not even talking about Tesla insurance, Tesla App Store, Tesla streaming service, just so many other things. Like, enough of surprises, enough of new products. Execute on what you got right now, I think. And that's what everybody wants them to do. There's plenty of cool products that Tesla has out there on our minds. They just need to start making them. Hopefully on time, but at least making them. Am I planning on going to Tesla pickup event? I have not been invited. I most likely will go. I'm not too crazy going about to Tesla events, because any other brand that has an unveiling, if they invite you, they usually pay for your travel, for your hotel, for everything, for your meals even sometimes, because essentially they're inviting a journalist, social media influencer, however you want to call us, to promote their brand and promote their cars. And the budget for that is usually ridiculous. They really, really, really take care of us. If you're flying overseas, they'll fly you business class a lot of times. But Tesla, even though my trip to usually Los Angeles is not very expensive, it's just for me to pay $500, $600, $700 and spend a day or two traveling and still having to make videos, which is inconvenient for me and you guys, my audience. A lot of times I don't want to do it. For what? Everyone's going to have the same footage, right? No one's going to interview. I'm not going to interview Elon Musk. So, I go if I'm able to like catch a ride with someone, so I don't have to be at the airport and pay for airline tickets, and get a relatively affordable hotel room. That's what I've been doing. A lot of times I would drive with Eli, who wants to drive anyway. But I just, until Tesla does real PR for real journalists, I don't really see. Yeah, but I'll probably go if everything goes the way it did before, where things have just kind of turned out to be okay for me. Let's see. Melissa, how are you? Says hello, guys. Um, you've answered two of my questions and didn't make an attempt to pronounce my name. Uh, um, what was that you said to Elon about credit? Okay, so I listen. I don't really know how. I just don't want to butcher your name. That's all. Yeah, I'm trying to pronounce it in my head right now. So, but sorry. And I don't know if it's your name or username or whatever. But what did you say to Elon about credit? I don't remember what I said, so you're gonna have to remind me. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Um, Kenneth Burke says, I absolutely like to hear a comparison with all EVs. I think it is important to have a balanced approach. Somehow people don't like that always on this channel, especially people who love Tesla. They don't like hearing anything negative about Tesla. Like, it's just like, and this is the reason this channel doesn't have 300,000 subscribers, and only we're maybe at 40 this month, because even though I deliver news and my opinion I feel is very unbiased and diverse, people just can't stand hearing things that are not always like they hear in their heads. Like, if they love Tesla, they don't want to hear about Byton. Oh, Chinese car, who wants the Chinese car? Say they, as they type this comment on their Chinese-made iPhone, right? So yeah. But I'm the same way. This is the reason I've switched this channel to this more general topic where we could talk about different electric cars, good and bad, right? Like, Honda E deserves some crap for me. There's some good things. Like, people will watch a video like I just did on Honda E and say, Alex, you're so negative about it. Well, they're embarrassing us why should we praise the car that's essentially going to be reinforcing all these negative stereotypes that people already have in electric cars? I do this every day. I'm trying to dismantle those myths. And now Honda comes in and only helps out the other side. Yeah, I'm going to be mad at them, but at the same time, no one may be, a lot of times people will not notice that I've also praised them for quite a few things. For example, Honda E, with all of its flaws, which is basically its crappy range, has a great technology for side mirrors, right? Audi e-tron that I really like, I've crapped all over their side mirror cameras and technology. I really didn't like it. But they did a great job. The way those cameras are, they're very slim and slick. And the way the monitors are inside and where they are, I think it's just like almost perfect, exactly how I think it should be. I like their dashboard, and I like the look of the car, because kind of, almost an iMac. Remember those colorful iMacs that people kind of, I think that was the beginning of a turnaround for Apple. So, yeah, but it is what it is. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. All right, Nigel says 200 plus mile range makes higher charge speed easier to do, but 100 to 200 kilowatt DC charging essential. Yes, but at the same time, don't forget we're gonna be moving to solid state at some point, and that would be even less of an issue. But what I'm saying is 200 plus mile range is what people need. Anything over 200 miles, like if you drive 100 miles a day, which is a lot, right? Do you care if you have a 204 mile disappointment of an e-tron or a 370 mile Tesla Model S Raven, right? If we're just talking about mileage, forget about like everything else, right? If we're just talking about mileage, who cares? You only need 100 miles. So that's my point is. And everything else becomes pretty much long distance travel. And then I think people either use their second car, which a lot of times is a gas car, or they don't mind stopping by the superchargers or fast charging places because they end up eating, especially if they have kids. Everybody needs to use a bathroom and rest and stuff like that. So like it's okay with them. For me personally, I want to spend zero time on refueling, and even like stopping by a gas station, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to lose 5 minutes, So that's where I'm going with that, Nigel. All right. Heinz Peace says, tell us more about Tesla future. I can't. What do you tell about Robotaxi, and what will Uber and other car rental companies do when level 5 works? I think robotaxis are not going to be around as soon as Elon wants them to, but I think they will be around in the next 5 years. I think Uber and other car companies will catch up with the technology. There's also Waymo, by the way, that's getting on the market with the same technology. So, yeah, and this is where people are going to decide, do they even want to have a car? For example, people who live in San Francisco, and I'm assuming many other cities, especially in Europe, they don't have cars, they use Uber. I'm not sure if finances work out the same way really, but if especially a lot of people go out and they want to have a glass of wine or drink or whatever, and they can't drive their cars anyway, that's a good solution. That's kind of an upcharge that you get for wanting to have a good time and having some drinks. But some people say I don't need a car. I would rather use these robo taxis that I'm assuming are going to be cheaper than having a driver behind the wheel. That would be the only decent value proposition for those. So some people say, listen, I'm paying $1,000 for my payment and insurance and gas or electricity, whatever, maintenance, or I can take the same $1,000, use the robo taxis that will get me to the same spots, except for I can be on my laptop, or I can take a nap, or I can interact with my family. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to be taken over, but some people will be like, no, I want to be in my own space. And even though their cars will probably drive themselves not probably, definitely drive themselves in the future as well, but some people like myself, I want my own pod, okay? Just like with a lot of things. I want my own. I don't want other people sitting there, driving there, sleeping there, puking there. Like, I want my stuff. So this is a decision we'll all will have to make, and it's a personal decision. So I see people going either way. Nigel says, "Ice car eats your wallet in gas. It's CSO crap. It's escaping me. That matters, but that isn't something paycheck to paycheck consumer can deal with. Yes, don't forget that sometimes difference is not that grand because sometimes gas prices go down and electricity sometimes is expensive. Don't forget, when you add an electric car to your household, right? Your electricity rates go up because every and we'll see if I need to restart. Okay, I think it's coming back. So yeah, so and plus don't forget there are other costs associated with an electric car company. Obviously, installation of a charging station, right? You kind of have to build in kind of overtime spendings. But at the same time, I'm just kind of looking at my feed because I am streaming here, but that one is not. Let me see if I can stop and start again. Hmm. All right. Well, maybe I should wrap things up. In that case. I don't think I see any super chats. Let's see. Yep, not streaming. Not streaming. All right. Uh, doesn't look like it's going to work. Oh, look, I am back. Okay. All right, fine. I'm back. So maybe we should go for a little bit longer. Um, technology. Okay. All right. So where was I? I'm just gonna move on to the next question. Though, this is a good reminder that I should probably start wrapping things up. But all right. Working again, says everybody. All right. All right. Okay. Where was I? $99 shirt. Holy crap, the cost more than your Volt. Okay, so the thing about with expensive shirts, $99, I'm telling you, it's pretty cheap for custom made shirts compared to like $500 that they normally cost. But don't forget, if it's the only way you can fit into a shirt, right? Your other choice is to buy a shirt somewhere and then have it tailored, which will be more than $100 together. Plus, it's made out of a material that will last longer. So you can buy 3 shirts like this for $40, or you can buy, they'll wear out pretty quick, or you can buy 1 shirt that will last for a while because it's a high quality material, and Jay Hilburn uses. Maybe they should be sponsors. They use Italian material, so it's kind of like that. But so to answer that question about my car, let's see. So 2020, when your car get a used Model 3 for 25,000 or less, this starts to make more sense. I don't know if you'll be able to get a $25,000 car, a Model 3 used in next year, because a lot of them are keeping up with the value. A lot of people who bought them don't really want to, part ways with them. And even if they do, yeah, I mean, I guess I can see a couple of them, but no, no, I'm going to back up because don't forget, the cars that are on the market right now, mainly, the Model 3s are the cars that were bought for like 40, 50, 60, $70,000, right? They're not going to be costing $25,000. It's the $25,000 are going to be the Model 3s that are only now being sold at 35, 38, 40,000, right? Those are the ones that will probably take 2 or 3 years to fall to 25. So, but it's only kind of starting now when they're even being sold. So no, next year I do not think you will find even salvaged titled a Model 3, used Model 3 for 25,000. I just don't think you will. Let's see. Let's see. I think they said they made $3,721 average per car made. I don't know if you guys are talking about like the latest report. Oh, all right. So Ayomipo 81. Am I pronouncing this right? Ayomipo 81. Yeah, there's no way I would have figured it out on my own actually. So, Gray J, welcome to the chat. He says, Alex, would you go to Luna Cycles to test their new Sunrun X? I think it will change electric two-wheel transport. They're in Cali and are YouTubers too. I don't know who they are, I have to say. But again, if people invite me, I don't mind. Like whenever people invite me and it makes sense, especially financially, like I can't just pay for my travel all the time. Yeah, of course I would. Uh, let's see. Tiger Roll. The tunnel number 3 in New York has been being bored for 35 years, still not finished. The cost of $6 billion, not cost effective. All right, boring company should be changing that. Uh, what are you thinking of for a new car? Asks a car dude to awesomeness. I don't know. I really don't know. So one of the things that I mentioned, I think before, is that I want to. So if I get another sponsor that's an automaker, right? Let's say it's Kia, right? Um, I really would feel odd, let's say, if I decide to buy a Tesla, but then advertise Kia to you guys. Because products that I advertise and companies that advertise on my channel, even though they're paid sponsor, they're sponsoring me, they're put on my table, I wouldn't advertise a company that I wouldn't recommend, right? Because my thing is transparency and unbiased and honesty. So in every contract that I sign for sponsorship, absolutely 100% has the clause that says they have no control over my content, meaning like if Biden has some issues, I'm going to report on them and there's nothing that binds me in my agreement not to, which I will, just like I did with Audi when they sponsored my trips and so forth, right? So that is extremely important to me. And now I kind of lost track of what I'm thinking about the new car. Yeah, so obviously it's time to end this pretty soon because my brain is like melting. So it's really important, and I want to make sure that if a car brand sponsor it, I go and buy their car. So when I'm recommending something for you, I've already literally invested into the same car, and I can say, yes, I like this brand, I like this car. As a matter of fact, I bought it. Same thing that's happening with Byton. Obviously, I can't buy that car because otherwise, hell yeah. But I am a reservation holder, an early reservation holder. That's all I can suggest because I'm not selling Byton. I'm just saying you should reserve one and make a decision once they're available here in the United States. And I'm doing the same thing, right? So that's important. So that car might depend on the brand that's willing to work with this channel and obviously this audience. And that's where I want to make sure that I put my money where my mouth is. Yeah. Kevin says, I'm sure Tesla pays for hotels and plane tickets for bigger YouTubers. Actually, from what I know, it is not true. And I know some relatively pretty big YouTubers beyond even our niche that they invited. And I think they just, but even if so, I got to tell you, I have never gone on a event where I would be covering a brand where a brand would not pay for my hotel and this is back when I had like 10,000 subscribers, right? Definitely now, and I'm not a big YouTuber by any type of means, right? There are bigger YouTubers all over the place than me in this niche, and even they pay their own. So yeah, no, I'm definitely qualified to have a few bucks thrown at my plane tickets. And when Tesla doesn't do it again, do I want to invest $600-700 to make one video about their event that I can make here in a comfort of my own home with the same footage that everybody else gets? That's just a business decision at some point. Let's see. Glenn says, fully charged loves it. I'm assuming you're talking about a Honda E. My thing is that you're gonna spend over 20,000 on any car. It better be able to get you anywhere you want to be. Maybe the Honda E range works in England. I agree. So yes, it maybe works in England, but then I don't care. If you're only getting 100 miles on one charge, you can't charge the same amount of money that you would get for a car like Kia Niro EV with double or even triple of the actual range. That's all I'm saying. Now they have over 30,000 reservations, so obviously there's some people who are interested in it. And yes, I know Fully Charged loves it, but I have other problems with Fully Charged. I don't know why they love it, right? I don't get fully charged. I don't know. Maybe it's because Honda. I mean, obviously that video was sponsored by Honda. It looks like they brought him in and all of that stuff. And I don't know if he mentions the video or not, but let's say he does. You don't have to like the brand just because they paid for their trip. And I don't know if fully charged really either realizes that or feels comfortable with it. I feel comfortable with it. When Audi brought myself and my assistant, business class, resort hotel and everything all the way from here to Spain a few months ago. Obviously, that was a major investment in me as a journalist. And yet, one of the videos that I made standing right in front of them, right in front of their PR people, is how much I really dislike their side mirrors, right? And I was comfortable doing that because actually, the video that I took of those side mirrors, just the video that I posted in like LinkedIn and Instagram, that got them over 100,000 views, right? So they might say, hey, that was worth it anyway. This guy didn't like it, but the footage of it made a lot of people be aware of it because it is a new technology. And maybe Alex didn't like it, but other people did. Let other people judge, and so they were happy with it overall, right? I just didn't like the fact that he did mention that, hey, it's 100 miles EPA range, like, and the price is going to be just as I like. You know what I mean? There's got to be some. This is why I pride myself on being unbiased here, because I will give you both stories. I get a lot of slack for it, but like I like it. Like I wish the fully charged channel would be like that because they have access to this amazing. Obviously, he's like the first guy who was able to drive this car. Would be like I was not invited, obviously. So he has this opportunities to drive these cars before anybody else does, and I feel like he wastes them on basically just kind of almost reading off of the script of whatever brand invites them, right? And I think that does not always suit the audience. Definitely doesn't suit my audience. So I saw it, Glenn, but I disagree with the way he goes about it. That's because there's definitely some major drawbacks. I think that car will make it harder on our industry to promote electric cars. Let's see. Ray Johnson says Maxwell Tech has given Tesla 2070s 25% increase because he stated that we are just over 300 watt hours per kilogram now, which currently stated at 246 to 250. So Maxwell brings it to 307, 312. Yeah, no, obviously buying that company is going to be a big deal for the technology. Absolutely, yes. Elon should have never given a Robotaxi timeline. I think, Kevin, Elon should not give anything timeline. I think, can we agree on that? Let's see. I'm just kind of trying to browse through some of them. Tesla delivers 95.2 thousand cars in Q2. Yes, I will make a video about it obviously soon. That's where we hit the little bit of a issue. I see lots of Teslas in Colorado. I'm assuming around Aspen. Boulder. And yeah, I got my geography mixed up. But I think there are two cities in Colorado that are very high tech. And that's where a lot of people move there, so I'm not really surprised. Boulder and what the hell is Aspen? No, that brain. Obviously my brain is gone, so please disregard. Let's see. Iomipo81, whose username I can now pronounce, says Alex, come visit me in Connecticut. I'm already not really that sold on that. And do a story on me. I'll pay you travel and lodging expenses. Well, what would be this story? If there is a story, let me know. You know how to contact me. Anybody can contact me through social media on Twitter. I'm allowing personal messages. I'm not saying I'm replying to all of them, but if you have some sort of a business proposition, I'm E for electric and all social media. So contact me, let me know why I should come over and do this. And if there's a story there, just by the way, paying my travel expenses is not necessarily going to get me to go. I declined plenty of trips because traveling is hard actually, while I have to make videos on my phone and drag my equipment around. So, it has to be a good story, but I'm open. So contact me and definitely I'm open to doing it. For you, Robert says, sell your Chevy Volt. Well, what am I going to drive then for now? Let's see. We're talking about Maxwell. I love the look of Honda E, but 120-mile range is not very good. Don't forget, it's 125 on the European cycle. It's actually about 100 in EPA, which realistically makes it 70 to 80 realistic miles. But I love the look too. I love the look. I like the dashboard, and I like the side mirrors. So, but for a car that's a major brand producing in 2020, it's an embarrassment. I'm just gonna say that. If the Kevin also says if the Honda E price starts at like 20,000, it would be acceptable. I agree. Yeah, if I would even go for 25. But from what I have read, it starts at 30K. Actually, even more from what I understand. Let's see. Honda will also charge over sticker when it comes out. Okay. I think a lot of them do because there's a line. Like they said, there's over 30,000 people who already reserved that. Let's see. Well, has a terrible lumbar support and had to get rid of mine with no help from GM or dealerships. And I'm sorry to hear that, Seth, but I mean, I'm okay with Volt. Like, I mean, obviously it's a personal thing, and I know some people have bad backs. I do have a bad back as well, but I've had no problems in these. Let's see. Oh, you said still have back problems because of the Volt. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Denver, Colorado. But yeah, Denver, Boulder, and then I think there's another dense city. Maybe there are 3, Tiger Roll. When the Tesla quarterly results are out, I believe it's at the end of the month. Yeah, but or maybe in a week, but not today. Not today or in the next few days. Have any top executives at Biden been laid off recently? I have not heard of any layoffs in general. I know their CEO, Karsten Breinfeld, left in the beginning of the year, which it looks like did not affect Biden as a company. I personally like the guy. I just had a personal relationship and I really enjoyed our friendship within the industry. He was always great on camera, and I know he's a long-time executive at BMW that headed their I program, especially i8 is his baby. So I'm sad to see him go. It looks like they were able to phase him out relatively efficiently. And Daniel, who is now the new CEO, he was a president before, is taking over, and it looks like things are going well. I have not heard too many new things. Everything that I hear, I report to you guys, but I have not heard of any layoffs. Not really sure why they would do that at this point, but no. Paul Angel says, I thought Tesla had a demand problem. That's what the media told me. They told me nobody wanted a Tesla. I think the demand problem is in Model S, which is true, especially in the beginning of the year. And I think the demand problem with Model 3 is for the higher $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 versions where they make all of their money. I think that's where the demand problem is. Coming Cloud says, does Biden have service stations in dealerships in Toronto? So Biden is not in the US yet, right? They're just built their factory in Nanjing. They're going to start producing these cars, and they're going to start selling them in China at the end of this year first, and then they're going to move here to the United States. And when there's news available about them building out their network of dealers and service centers, I will definitely let you guys know. All right. Just laughing at some of the comments. Not worth reading, but they're funny. 95,000 deliveries, 95,000 Teslas sold. Everyone's really excited about that. So we will talk about it. I'm going to talk about it in a different video because it's great that they beat their record. I think that means that they're back on track. Hopefully, the bigger thing is not how many they sold, is how much money they made. Did they lose money? Are they profitable again? I think that's going to be a bigger thing. But obviously, with the record deliveries, is easier to make that case. And of course, but what's going to be happening with Q3, right? What's going to be happening with there's less tax incentive? What's going to be happening as they have to continue selling cars in Europe and China, and maybe their initial excitement is over? That's a big question, of course. But hey, good for them. I mean, obviously, I want them to be profitable. This car company absolutely needs to kick butt, and they just had a tough start of the year. So, okay, I'll answer this one. Rod Godex, why don't larger companies just acquire some of these startups, electric companies? Why try to start from scratch when they can just acquire tech from other companies? Well, who would you acquire, right? I mean, also, we don't know what tech these startups have, right? Lucid was up for grabs, nobody wanted it. Faraday Future was up for grabs, nobody wanted it. But now they both got investments. Rivian wasn't really bought, but Ford invested into them, right? And Amazon. Um, I do have to say that is a good question. I'm kind of weirded out the fact that like Lucid didn't get bought, just because they did have some technology, especially the interior exterior design, if anything. So I'm surprised they didn't get bought out, but I don't know. I actually don't know. Let's see. Branawan says, "Yay, my comment is in the video." Which comment are you talking about? So I don't know if I missed one, but just I'm not able to read all of them. Um, Alex is one of my favorite YouTubers. I appreciate it. Are you getting an e-tron too? Not for the time being. I was really excited about it, and then kind of my excitement subsided. And again, I thought I was going to work with Audi a little bit more. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to work with them, then I'll definitely get an e-tron, because again, I only want to promote brands that I'm a customer or a fan of myself. But that didn't really work out. As a matter of fact, I'm not really sure where their freaking marketing is going. They're spending a lot of money, which is great. But I do not understand, and I completely disagree how they're spending that money to get people into their cars. I just dislike that. Um, Everyone figured out that technique is meaningless in auto industry, says Great J. It's about experience. No, there's some, there's self-driving technologies. There's tech about, communication between the cars, and there's plenty of tech that's, driving this. As a matter of fact, cars are becoming more and more tech and less, wheels and a chassis. So I disagree with that a little bit. But yes, people can hire software engineers and create it, but that's why companies acquire other companies. Robert says, same here. I don't know what you were replying to. As long as he doesn't wear the Burberry shirt. What's wrong with the Burberry shirt? I love that shirt. So these companies, I think, are bubbles. Do they have customer sales, and how much? If they don't today, RIP. No, I will give them a couple more years to start selling cars, because I mean we're still in execution stage. But yes, if some of these startups are not gonna start making cars in the next by 2021, they will probably have to kind of go away. Because how long can you have a company and not produce cars? All right. Let's see. All right, I will remove you from this chat. But anyway, guys, it's been over an hour and I'm losing my voice, and I do have to make a few other videos. I was just gonna do a test call to Tesla, see how long they're gonna keep me on hold before I reach a representative. So I'm gonna do that. Thank you for hanging out with me as always. This has been fun. I will see you back. By the way, if you want to continue watching me on a live every day, I'm live every day, just not on YouTube. I'm on Patreon. It's a way for me to be able to be crowdsourced, if you will, by people who support my channel. So if you want to go to patreon.com/eForElectric and support my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Really starts with $1 a month, essentially. So thank you, guys, for those of you who are supporting me. Don't forget to also subscribe to another free thing that you can find in the description of this video. Mailing list that we have. It's a VIP list that we basically send out a bonus story every week because there's so many stories I can't always talk to you guys about them here, but you get it. We have a great writer now, AJ, who just puts it in a little quick article and sends it into your inbox. So go to e4electric.com/VIP to do that. All right, guys. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me. Sorry about the thing in the middle of this video. I don't know why I lost the connection, but I'm glad it's back. So I will see you once again next Tuesday, 1 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to go to Patreon. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.